people want to know if the prison missed the chance to stop the escape before it happened. Actually, lots of questions. So to discuss this, we're joined by Larry Lawton. He's a former prison inmate who now works as an honorary policeman and works with teens trying to keep them out of a life of crime. Good morning to you, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Allison. Glad to be here.
Let's start with the mail at Clinton Correctional. It's not screened, apparently, or wasn't screened. How much of a mistake is it to have that kind of process at a prison like that?
Well, most maximum security prisons do screen the mail, so I was pretty surprised to hear that as well. And all the information David Sweat is giving them is going to be checked and double-checked. But I can tell you from living in a maximum security prison for 11 years, 90% of the guards break prison infraction rules, whether it's giving extra milks to inmates or giving them stuff they don't need, whether it's letting them out of the yard a little early to go somewhere when they know they're not going to that exact spot, whether it's medical or the library. And they have to figure out the ones that are actually criminals. And I'm talking about the guards that are actually doing the stuff that the prison employee did, the sweatshop worker. So they're going to have to figure that out. But if they really want to get real with themselves, Allison, the prison system's broke, and they're going to have to figure out how to fix it. 12 people is just the tip of the iceberg, if you ask me.
Why is it that these correctional officers become way too friendly, oftentimes, with those who are incarcerated there? I mean, they're human. That could be part of it. Or are they getting, what are they getting in return?
Well, Allison, you got to remember, guards are human beings too, and they see people in there that might not be belong to be with another inmate in there, whether it's a David Sweat or a Richard Matt, who are violent offenders, and they might have a guy in that same exact facility with a 6-year sentence, and he's just not as hard, and they feel bad for him. And I really feel bad for what's going on in there now with inmates in the prison. I know people say, well, how do you feel bad? Well, we got too many people in prison. We all know that in this country, with 25% of the prison population of the world and 5% of the population. So I think what's happening now is they're going through a lot of lockdowns, shakedowns, and people are not getting that little thing that might make them feel human. You have to remember, Allison, 95% of those people are getting out, and they are going to be reintegrated into society. And it's how we rehabilitate them, if we want to talk rehabilitation, that's going to save
Larry,
people on the outside.
They're not at the Riviera. They shouldn't. I mean, you think that they should sort of be given privileges while inside?
Well, it's not about being privileges. Nobody goes to prison and nobody gets out saying it's a great place, Allison. That's the biggest fallacy you hear about, oh, they're living in Club Fed if it's a federal prison. That is so not true. You're told what to do, when to get up, when to get down. I was put in a hole for writing letters to senators about deaths in prison. So, I mean, it's not what people see on TV, and I express that all the time. So I'm not talking about privileges. Oh, they need a conjugal even visit. They don't need certain things. I think they just need to be treated in humane conditions. And you don't know what happened in that prison, and it's just the tip is coming out, Allison.
Okay, Larry Lawton, thanks so much for joining us today.